Okay, we're going to move into our last part of the interview, though. And so...
Y'all having fun yet?
Yes, it's wonderful.
That's good.
Nice.
I'm glad you are. So this last part of the interview, we always like to ask whoever's on kind of what that personal road looked like, that personal journey for you to come where you're at now. And so I'm just going to leave it at that and kind of give you the free realm just to kind of each talk about what it looked like for y'all to get where you're at now.
Okay.
You were in it before me. So
Okay. So are you asking specifically for CIS or just kind of in general, like into the helping profession as a whole?
Whatever's laying on your heart to share. Whatever.
Your interpretation of the question is part of the answer.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll go there. I can say specifically for CIS and Communities in Schools as an organization, I first learned about Communities in Schools when I was in graduate school, the program that Tiffany and I were in at University of Houston Graduate College of Social Work. Woo! And one of our professors had worked for CIS for a very long time and spoke very highly of it. And so I took a school social work class and I learned more about CIS and the unique and amazing and very impactful work that they do. And I was just in awe of the organization and the work that is possible and the ability to build the kind of relationship that you can with the students. And like Tiffany was talking about earlier, that's the difference maker in a lot of situations. And, schools are a unique place. And having CIS in schools and the access to the students and the families and having that built-in kind of case consultation and to be able to triangulate information with teachers and counselors and students, and sometimes peers refer other peers. So it's just a unique place to do really great work. And so in terms of going for CIS, I was working at a hospital previously, and I think I was missing that. I was missing the long-term really building relationships with the clients that I was working with, and so that drew me to CIS. But as for the social work profession and the helping profession, I come from a background of helping professionals in my family. My mom was a school guidance counselor. My sister is currently a school guidance counselor, and it was kind of ingrained in my patchwork of my family, this idea of service and providing service to communities. So I can think back, at least when I was younger, my mom, going and getting things for students and trying to make sure that they have everything that they need, and so it just kind of became part of who I was, and so I felt very inclined to move into the field as well.
So I got into CIS because Taylor was already working at CIS. And so I also we went to grad school together, and we've always been really close ever since then. And I was working at an inpatient psych hospital, and I've always been drawn to psych and behavioral, mental health, and things like that. And working at the psych hospital, I learned a lot, and I loved it, but it was just not enough time. Like, the kids are only staying with us, 7 to 10 days max, right? And then I ship them off to hopefully an outside provider, and I don't get to follow up with them, and I don't know what happens with them. And so I was missing that piece. I wanted the follow-up. I wanted to make sure that the family and they were okay. So whenever Taylor was telling me that CIS had an opening, I applied, and that's why I wanted to get in, and I love it. I love being able to build that relationship. I get to see them and having access to them, right? Like, I see them Monday through Friday, and they know exactly where I'm at. I didn't have that at the hospital before that. And then same with my road to social work and the helping profession. My mom's the pre-K kindergarten teacher, also ingrained in our DNA basically to grow up and help others, and she also volunteers at churches and is always getting donations for her students. So just seeing that, and that's what I wanted to do too.
Yeah, it's so cool to actually see the change too with the students.
Yes.
Like you can see it happening in almost real time, and it's so rewarding to see that. It's cool.
From the beginning of August to now, like, some of my students are passing all of their classes, right? They have better relationships with their peers, with their teachers, with their own family members. It's just within just a school year time, right?
Yeah.
And like my seniors are graduating, and it's just so interesting. I know. And I'm at the middle school too, because Westchester's middle school and high school, and seeing my little 6th graders coming in all nervous and anxious and not knowing anybody, and now they're like running around, playing with everybody, talking to everybody. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, I think so. This podcast, Your Why, is kind of started on this idea of bringing people to talk about what they're passionate about and what it looked like for them to identify that passion and now live it out. And I can tell hearing both of you talk about your stories and how you've come to where you're at, there's this deep-rooted passion and it's contagious. And I think that's what I've experienced as I've worked with all these different nonprofits and organizations. Whenever you hear these people talk about it and they get emotional and passionate about it, you can't help hearing that. But like now I want to go and being the I want to yes.
Yeah, you can
but like there's a part of me that whenever I hear that, like my response is I want to go experience that as well. Like to see people so passionate and so joyful in what they're doing, I want to experience that as well, in that capacity.
Well, I mean, I just want to comment. I think it's interesting that both of you can trace the root of this call to your families and childhood experiences, whether they were intentional about your parents saying, here's why we do what we do, or whether it's just from an observation point. And so when we think about a world that has more folks like you guys in it that are willing to step in, you trace it back to from a community side and even from the singular, the family unit, that we have a responsibility to our own kids as well as within the community to point to this larger than self, larger than the individual type mindset of how do we teach the next generation that it's not about you, it's about how you serve others, and raising up the next generation of CIS workers and guidance counselors and preschool teachers and folks. So I think that was really, that was unique because it reminds me not only as a father of my responsibility, but also as a leader in the church of our responsibility in the church to talk to our kids about the focus on others.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I think and that's a big why behind this podcast is that we're hoping that through hearing these stories and hearing what these organizations are doing, that this will stir up in people this like, I want to go get involved. I want to go experience that as well. So, the question I like to ask everyone is, what is your why? What is your purpose? What is your drive? Like you getting out of bed every morning to come do the same job day in and day out there, and obviously there's a passion there. If you could identify what that is in like a statement, I'd love to hear that.
That's a loaded wide question. Laying it on thick. Gosh, in terms of like my why, I think when you go into this type of work, your heart is in it. You like you said, you have a passion for it, and when you look through that lens, you are constantly looking through that lens. And so you want to be there. You want to be there for the students. You want to be there for the families, for that supportive measures. I think that's my why, because when you genuinely put your heart into your work, it although challenging, it makes it fulfilling.
Yeah. My why, I think it's just I came into social work wanting to help and help guide, and it took me a while through my social work career to realize like I'm not their savior. I'm just there to help support them and help guide them on the right path, and that looks different every day, especially at the school levels, and I love that. I love being able to do something different every day. It's not the same cookie cutter thing. I'm going into work, so it's like exciting to wake up and like, what are we gonna do today, and who am I gonna talk to today, and who is gonna smile and tell me like thank you or whatever it is, right? And who I'm gonna be able to help. So that's my why.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all. Those were great answers and a lot of stuff to sit there and digest, and very motivating for me to hear. So kind of towards the end of the interview, we always like to give our guests an opportunity to plug their stuff. So, CIS, anything else that might be on your mind, now's your chance to, address the audience, say whatever you want to say. And so, yeah.
I don't know. I just think Communities in Schools of Houston is just, it's such a great place to work. We are like a family. We really are. When people start working for CIS, you go to our central office, people have been there for 20, 30 years. They've been there for a long time because they believe in CIS. And I think once you start doing the work, I know I've bought into it and I believe in CIS.
And then we also have a lot of the partnerships and stuff, but people can come and through us and volunteer. We have mentoring programs and things like that. So we bring mentors on for our middle school and high schoolers. So if anyone's interested, please contact CIS. The Central Houston, you can go online and email us, or even at a specific campus near your house, right? That
we can even make it easier than that. They can contact the Chapelwood Serving Ministry, and we can connect them with one of the campuses that we're already plugged in on. And working
bring
with
some
the
dresses
CIS.
for say yes to the prom dress.
Yes, prom is coming up, so we can dresses and makeup, whatever else, jewelry,
men's clothing.
Yes.
Yes.
For the tuxedos and the suits.
No, it's a great point, though. So if you're listening and you're looking for a way to contact, you can reach out to us on social media. You can email me, enehring, ENEHRING, at chapelwood.org. Go onto our website, contact us on there. We'll be able to point you in the right direction. But yeah, that's a good point, Joseph.
Sometimes.
So, every once in a while.
Can you do the ask?
That we'll do that.
Oh, is that?
That's outro. Yeah.
Outro.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll do that later. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure having you on.
Yes, thank you.
This has been awesome.
Much.
Yes. All right.
Okay, so can I ask one question?
Yeah. Totally.
So, in the dual citizenship role of both CIS and SBISD, what does that look like for you guys on your campus?
Well, for us, we still go by Spring Branch, all the rules and regulations and things like that. For us, it could be with our timing and things like that, like where we're spending our timing. But we're pretty much just like Spring Branch employees. We go to all the meetings and things like that. We have to abide by everything that's going on right now, right? So we have to fill out the forms, do this and that, and everybody, at least on my campus, I can speak for my campus, treats me just like a teacher or the actual an employee of Spring Branch.
So it does feel as if, you're fully Spring Branch.
I'm family,
And,
I feel like
and fully CIS.
Yeah.
So, it can look a little bit different because, we're working with the district, but we're also working with our nonprofit. And so sometimes we're following guidelines and those are intertwined with one another. And, sometimes there's ethical things that come up because of, maybe a district policy and a CIS policy that might not be perfectly aligned in the square peg and the square opening. But it really does feel like when we're on campus, once you've been there for a little bit, you get to know the teachers, you get to know the staff, and you're like a staff member because you're there every day. We're there when students are in class. And, in terms of what it looks like for working with students, we have a CIS consent form because we're not technically district
school,
people. We contract and we work with the district. So that partnership, it gives us the ability to have the access to students that we need and be able to provide the services that we need. And it's kind of a great happy medium, I think.
Well, I will say that you can add to your citizenship not only CIS and Spring Branch ISD, but you can add Chapelwood because we love CIS, and of course we love our
we
school
have
district.
in-service here. It's great.
Yes.
We were talking
Yes.
about that
Yes.
earlier. We have
Yes.
in-service here. We're here,
We're here quarterly.
I always love it when it's a CIS training morning here because I get to see a lot of friends, and so you are part of the Chapelwood family too. So
awesome.
we're glad.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again for coming on. Howdy, and thanks for watching. Please leave a like and comment on this video. And if you aren't subscribed already to the Your Why channel, go ahead and subscribe. Also, don't forget to turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our videos. If anything during the video piques your interest, go ahead and check out the descriptions in the link below. Go and find your why, people.